What's up YouTube, Leon here, and today, let's talk about MMOs. I have a weird relationship with this genre, and in my opinion, I'm probably not the best person when it comes to the MMO. But I know one thing, I know what I like. Let me go ahead and talk about why I don't really like playing regular MMOs. It's not because of them being time sinks or forcing me to play with other people. It's that when I think of regular MMOs, I could only think of one thing: tab targeting. It's just that me, being someone who loves action games, just doesn't jive well with the idea of tab targeting. What's tab targeting, you may ask? It's awful and I don't like it. Go look it up on Google or something. Because of my adverse reaction to this mechanic, I haven't really found an MMO that really stuck with me. Until Phantasy Star Online 2 was released in Japan. When was this game released? I see. I think I played it in 2018 or something. All I remember is using the PSO2 tweaker to play it in English somewhat, and putting at least 300 or so hours into it with a friend. I wouldn't really put PSO2 into the MMO category because of how it's structured. Arcadey third-person action in small instance-based areas aren't really de facto MMO experiences. But it's something that satiated my small brain's feel-good receptors. Then finally, after 8 years, internationally a few months, PSO2 New Genesis makes its way to, well, everybody. No wait for an international release, no 8-year wait, it's just here, and that's pretty cool. While it's bundled with its older counterpart, PSO2 New Genesis is not PSO2. It's an all-new experience that can be very divisive if you played the original for years and loved it. So let's get into the meat and potatoes of this, and here are my thoughts on PSO2 New Genesis. New Genesis is New Genesis. PSO2 is PSO2. This is the first idea you have to get past before even playing New Genesis. If you're like me and haven't kept up with what New Genesis is before playing, I was blindsided with what I expected. I was honestly kinda into it at first. Movement, combat, and freedom got me hooked. Just the simple act of moving around in this game is fun. The first few hours are some of the best first impressions I've had with any MMO. The potential of best MMO I've ever played is looming right around the corner until. Before I get to that, let's start with the good. New Genesis tries to blend the classic arcadey action from PSO2 into a more MMO-like open-world setting. And for the most part, it succeeds. Traveling around the game world is seamless. You may notice that the world itself outside of town feel kind of devoid of players, and that's because of the region system. Each area is indicated with this huge white wall letting you know which region you're in. Regions themselves are kind of like instance rooms, so only a max number of people can be in any given region. In this case, it looks like 8 players. So whenever you travel from region to region, you get thrown into a new room with or without people. My guess is to make sure things don't get too chaotic and blow up the server or something, I don't know. Combat also gets a huge overhaul from its older counterpart. Movement and faster action take emphasis in New Genesis. Because of these changes to the overall systems, means things need to be balanced around them. Enemy groups are larger and more aggressive, making each encounter frenetic and a spectacle to the eyeballs. Which comes to another balance change which I personally don't have an opinion on: the removal of just attacks. With my time with PSO2, I did enjoy JAs. They made you pay attention to your attacks to do more damage. It added depth to an otherwise repetitive button masher. And in New Genesis, I could go either way. It's already chaotic as it is, and I could understand the removal of them. While the latter, I could make an argument for JAs, but at the end of the day, just as long as the game is fun to play, I really could care less about the topic. Let's keep the good vibes going and let's talk about the exploration. There is an emphasis to explore the world, whether it may be a teleport point or a challenge room. Finding points of interest was enjoyable. It's a nice change of pace from the blindingly fast action. And sometimes this game could look pretty good. Let me quickly go through some minor changes in the systems. For weapon and armor grinding, you need a grinder and extra weapons and armor, and a lot of money. Grinding weapons and armor does not have a failure rate. Instead, you can only get great successes if you're lucky. You have all basic weapon skills, but there aren't any new ones so far. Monomates and other healing items are now just one item. Multi-weapons are a neat way of having other class skills at your disposal. Again, really expensive, but really cool. And weapon passives are now dropped by enemies. Because weapon passives are dropped by enemies, any weapon you pick up from loot drops or anything like that don't have passives on them, so you need to put those passives on them. Again, there's a lot of RNG in this game, so putting those passives, you need a lot of those passive thingies just to put the passive on. I said passive a lot of times. I'm pretty sure there are a ton more that I'm missing. I just can't think of any else at the top of my head. But again, these are only minor changes to the PSO2 formula. While I may be glowing in this review, all good things come to an end. Because this game should have been labeled early access. After your 15 hours of playtime, you've done everything there is to do in the entire game. And honestly, those 15 hours aren't the most fun 15 hours I've had. Main quests on their own are pretty enjoyable. The story itself has been surprisingly in-depth and interesting, if a little formulaic. The problem was getting to these points. It's like the game was trying to stop you from playing too much by gating content through battle power. Out of those 15 hours, I'd say 5 of those were me running around looking for Dolomite to upgrade my battle power. When I was scavenging, bored out of my eyes, it dawned on me. This game isn't even close to being a finished product. Sure, you could say this game is free to play. I'm not paying for a finished $60 game. It was more of the idea and expectations I had. PSO2 nowadays is a free-to-play game with hundreds, if not thousands of hours of content. And in comparison, New Genesis is more like a pre-alpha. I didn't even know this game had a level cap of 20. Places off in the distance like the ice or desert regions weren't even finished. You can't even go to them. The highest rarity thing I got was 4 stars. And the fact that I finished the main quest in 15 hours says something. I think coming into New Genesis knowing what content there was would cushion the blow a bit. But finding out 10 hours in while I was looking for stones, finally getting the epiphany that something wasn't right and looking up the level cap seeing that it was 20 and I was already at endgame was a bit jarring. But after sitting with New Genesis and letting it fester, there's still a lot of potential. Playing it is still enjoyable, but makes waiting for new content painful. And the idea of grinding for more battle power makes me want to gouge my eyes out. I guess what I said before still stands. PSO2 is PSO2, and New Genesis is New Genesis. I just hope in the near future we get some more content for this game. This is Leon from Humans Play, and how do you guys feel about New Genesis? Do you like it? Do you hate it? Or are you somewhere in the middle? I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Peace, peace.